Joseph Walter Jackson was born on July 26, 1928 and died on June 27, 2018. He was an American talent manager and patriarch of the Jackson family of entertainers, which included the pop stars Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson. He was inducted into Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame as a member of the class of 2014. Jackson was an African American, born to Samuel Jackson 1893–1992, a university professor, and Crystal Lee King 1907–1997, in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, on July 26, 1928. Although, according to the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame and Katherine Jackson's book, My Family, The Jacksons, the year was 1929. Jackson was the eldest of 5 children, which included brothers Lawrence died 2017 and Luther and sisters Lula Mae and Verna Mae. Samuel was the son of Israel Nero Jackson 1839–1934, a slave. Israel was the son of July Jack Gale 1802–1909, an indigenous Choctaw of the Plantation of Gale. Jackson was of African and Native American ancestry. While he was preparing for a professional boxing career, he met 17-year-old Katherine Scruse, who also lived in East Chicago and attended Washington High School. Joe married another woman and in less than a year he was divorced before he started dating Katherine. Joseph and Katherine were married on November 5, 1949. In January 1950, they purchased 2300 Jackson Street, a small 2-bedroom home near East Chicago in Gary, Indiana. The Jacksons' first child, Maureen Reillette Rebbie Jackson, was born 4 months later on May 29, 1950, in the Jackson house. Still employed at Inland Steel, Jackson left his hopes of becoming a professional boxer in order to support his family, and began working there as a full-time crane operator. He later took a second part-time job at American Foundries in East Chicago. In the meantime, his wife Katherine tended to their growing family. She started working part-time at Sears in Gary in the late 1950s. The Jacksons would go on to have 10 children. Their son Brandon Jackson died just after he was born. 6. During the early 1950s, Jackson briefly performed with his own blues band the Falcons, playing guitar. Despite their efforts, the Falcons did not get a recording deal and subsequently broke up after one of their members, Thornton Pookie Hudson, founded his own band in 1952. That band would go on to become a successful doo-wop group named the Spaniels. Jackson began working with his son's musical group in the early 1960s, first working with his 3 eldest sons, Jackie, Tito and Jermaine. Younger sons Marlon and Michael eventually joined the backing band. Joseph began enforcing long and intense rehearsals for his sons. At first, the group went under the Jackson Brothers. Following the inclusions of Marlon and Michael in the group and Michael's increased vocal presence within the group, their name was changed to the Jackson 5. After a couple years performing in talent contests and high school functions, Joseph booked them in more and more respectable venues until they landed a spot at the renowned Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York. On November 21, 1967, the Jackson 5 were signed by Jackson to their first professional contract with Gordon Keith, an owner and the first president of Soultown Records in Gary, Indiana. The group's first single Big Boy, with Michael as the lead singer, was released by Keith on January 31, 1968 on the Soultown label. Big Boy became a local hit and Michael and his brothers became local celebrities when and after it was played on radio stations in the Chicago-Gary area. Within a year, Jackson helped to land his sons an audition for Motown Records in Detroit. The Jackson 5 were signed with Motown in March 1969. Jackson later relocated his family to California and supervised every recording session the group made for Motown. The following year, Joseph fathered a child with another woman named Cheryl Terrell. Their daughter, Giovanni Jackson, was born on August 30, 1974. This led Joseph and Cheryl to a 25-year-long affair while raising their daughter Giovanni. Katherine attempted once again to divorce her husband in 1982, but again was persuaded to drop the action. Joseph then moved away to Las Vegas, but continued to share the Jackson family home Havenhurst with Katherine in Encino, California. Citation needed. Despite living separately, Katherine and Joe remained officially married until his death. Katherine denied the rumors that she and Joseph were estranged. In the late 1980s, Joseph's image as a father became tarnished as the media reported stories told by his children that he was abusive towards them. When he managed his family, he allegedly ordered each of them to call him Joseph, which contributed to several siblings being estranged from him. Michael Jackson claimed that from a young age he was physically and emotionally abused by his father, enduring incessant rehearsals, whippings and name-calling, but also admitting that his father's strict discipline played a large part in his success. Michael first spoke openly about his childhood abuse in a 1993 interview with Oprah Winfrey. He said that during his childhood he often cried from loneliness. Joseph admitted to whipping his children with switches and belts as punishment, but said he did not do so at random, and claimed never to have used any hard object as he felt was implied by the word beating. Despite the abuse allegations, Michael honored his father with an annual Joseph Jackson Day at Neverland Ranch and ultimately forgave him, noting that Joseph's Deep South upbringing during the Great Depression and the Jim Crow years in working-class adulthood hardened him emotionally and made him push his children to succeed as entertainers. Both Joe and Katherine have denied the characterization of abuse. Katherine has said that while the whippings may be viewed as abuse by current generations, such methods were normal ways to discipline children for misbehavior in those days. Other siblings, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine and Marlon, have denied that their father had been abusive. Some of Jackson's sons went on to be at the center of various abuse cases, with Randy being charged with beating his wife and daughter. Joseph Jackson was portrayed by Lawrence Hilton Jacobs in the miniseries The Jacksons, An American Dream, and by Frederick Tucker in the 2004 VH1 biopic Man in the Mirror, The Michael Jackson Story. In October 2002, Mr. Jackson was awarded a proclamation in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the best entertainment manager of all time by Jane L. Campbell, Mayor of Cleveland, Ohio. In 2011, Jackson was inducted into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame. Jackson accepted the award on behalf of his son Michael, when he was inducted into the Rhythm, Blues Music Hall of Fame with a Lifetime Achievement Award. The following year he was awarded the Rhythm and Blues 2015 Humanitarian Award. In June 2015, Jackson appeared at the BET Awards 2015 with daughter Janet Jackson as she accepted the Ultimate Icon Award, to fly out of the country for further treatment until 2 weeks later. He died at 89 years old.